On August 3rd, 2025, the war in Ukraine arrived at Vladimir Putin's doorstep. It wasn't just another headline about a drone strike. It was a message delivered deep inside Russia, setting a huge oil depot on fire in Putin's favorite resort city. This attack wasn't just a tactical pinprick, it was the demonstration of Ukraine's terrifying new reach, a direct hit on the economic engine of Russia's war machine, and a serious psychological blow to the Russian public. So what exactly happened? We're going to break it down, the attack moment by moment, look at the chaos it caused, and explain why this strike on Sochi could be a pivotal moment in the war. We'll also explore the larger strategy at play and what it tells us about the future of warfare. The attack started in the early hours of August 3rd. Under the cover of darkness, Ukraine claims its long-range drones flew hundreds of kilometers, slipping through one of Russia's most heavily monitored airspaces to reach their target, a major oil facility in Sochi's Adler district. This district is critical, sitting right next to Sochi's international airport, a key hub for transport and logistics. Around 2:15 a.m. local time, residents reported hearing the distinct buzz of drone engines, followed by explosions. The target was a Rosneft oil depot, a vital artery for the southern Russian fuel supply. Here's where the stories diverge. Ukrainian sources claim their drone struck with precision, hitting at least one massive fuel tank. Russian officials, on the other hand, reported that their air defense shot down the drones, and the fire was caused by falling debris. Whatever the cause, the result was spectacular and immediate. A 2,000 cubic meter fuel tank erupted into a massive fireball, lighting up the night sky. Videos immediately flooded social media, showing a towering inferno of thick black smoke, all visible from balconies and beaches across the city. The blaze was huge, requiring 120 firefighters and dozens of emergency vehicles to prevent it from spreading to other tanks. While Russian authorities were quick to announce there were no casualties, the message was clear. No part of Russia, not even the Kremlin's favorite vacation spot, was truly safe anymore. The strike immediately sent shock waves of chaos through a city built on an image of safety and luxury. The biggest disruption was to air traffic. With an oil depot burning right next to the runways, authorities had to temporarily suspend all flights at Sochi Airport, a key hub for both civilian and military travel. Although the shutdown was temporary, it was a stark reminder of Russia's vulnerability. Local officials scrambled to manage the story. Krasnodar's governor and Sochi's mayor quickly issued statements confirming an attack but downplayed its impact, sticking to the no casualties line and insisting the city was fine. They blamed the fire on falling debris, a story that was instantly challenged by the videos their own citizens were posting, which seemed to show a direct, devastating hit. And the choice of Sochi couldn't have been more symbolic. This isn't just a city, it's the home of the 2014 Winter Olympics, a project tied directly to Putin's national pride. It's also known to host a presidential residence and has long been sold as a safe haven for the Russian elite. For many Russians who've only seen the war on state TV, this brought the conflict home in a very real way. That pillar of smoke rising over the Black Sea shattered the illusion of distant conflict. So why does one strike on an oil depot matter so much in the grand scheme of the war? And how does it fit into the bigger picture? Well, it's not just one strike. First of all, there's been multiple strikes over the last couple of months. 2 strikes on oil depots. There's been strikes on railways, to include cyber attacks on Aeroflot, which is Russia's national airline. But this specific attack is a key piece of a systematic Ukrainian strategy to cripple Russia's ability to fight, hitting on 2 main fronts, economic and psychological. On the economic front, the goal is to choke off the fuel and money that power Russia's military. Ukraine has been methodically targeting Russian energy infrastructure, and the attacks are getting more sophisticated. To put in perspective, some Western analysts estimate that by the spring of 2024, Ukrainian strikes had already disrupted between 10 to 17% of Russia's entire oil refinery capacity. This directly hits the production of diesel and jet fuel for tanks and planes, potentially slowing Russia down on the battlefield. By hitting storage and export hubs like the one in Sochi, Ukraine also attacks Russia's income. While it's hard to pin down the exact number, these kinds of disruptions threaten the stream of cash the Kremlin uses to fund the war. The economic damage from these strikes, considering lost product and repair costs, is likely estimated in the hundreds of millions of dollars, creating a real strain on the Russian economy. You could say Ukraine is trying to cut the fuel lines of the Russian war machine. The second front is psychological. Hitting Sochi is a direct challenge to the Kremlin's narrative of strength. For years, Russian state media has framed the war as something happening far away. The Sochi strike, like earlier attacks on Moscow, shatters that illusion. It tells the Russian people that the war can reach them directly, and it chips away at their confidence in the government's power to protect them. When a drone gets past their air defense of a city known for housing the presidential residence, it sends a powerful message about Ukraine's tech and Russia's vulnerabilities. It's a classic asymmetric war, a relatively cheap drone causing millions in damage and creating strategic headache that goes far beyond its price tag. The Sochi strike really highlights how Ukrainian innovation is changing modern warfare. This isn't just about one successful hit, it's about how a whole new doctrine. Since the war began, Ukraine has built an impressive domestic drone industry, making long-range UAVs that can strike deep inside Russia. We've seen this pattern again and again with attacks on major refineries and industrial plants far from the border. This drone campaign works hand in hand with Western economic sanctions. While sanctions try to starve Russia's war economy from the outside, Ukraine's drones are attacking it from within. Russia has tried to adapt, selling its oil at big discounts to markets like China and India to keep cash flowing. While these sales help, the combined pressure of physical damage and financial restrictions creates a complex economic challenge for the Kremlin. What we're seeing is a strategic shift. Ukraine has shown it can consistently put Russia's most valuable assets at risk. This forces Moscow into a tough choice: pull back advanced air defense systems from the front lines to protect its economic heartland, or leave the heartland vulnerable to more attacks. Neither option is good. This new reality changes the entire strategic math of the war. It shows that Ukraine isn't just defending itself, it's projecting power deep into Russia, imposing direct costs, and creating a level of strategic pressure the Kremlin hasn't faced before. If you want to understand these strategic trends and how technology is changing geopolitics, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on our next breakdown. On Wednesday, we'll be giving a S-400 threat brief, or as the NATO calls it, SA-21, so stay tuned for that. The fire at the Sochi oil depot on August 3rd was more than just a spectacular blaze. It was a turning point. It shattered all illusion and safety, landing a direct hit on Russia's economic lifeline and delivered a powerful psychological shock right to the Kremlin's doorstep. This strike shows that Ukraine's strategy of asymmetric warfare is working, putting real pressure on Russia's military and economy. It proves that with ingenuity and determination, a nation can strike back against a bigger adversary in ways that are both materially and symbolically powerful. The bottom line is this: the map of the war has changed for good. The question isn't if Ukraine can strike deep inside Russia anymore. The question is where and when will it strike next?